Hi guys, I'm Liz Roome. I'm a British girl living in the UK who's really enthusiastic about nature and the outdoors, and today I want to give you my top 8 tips for hiking in the UK. Now this video is aimed at those people who haven't been hiking in the UK before, and I really hope that it will be a helpful little guide to help you enjoy your time getting outdoors, spending time in nature on a visit to the UK, and perhaps it might even be useful for those who live in the UK but haven't spent that much time hiking before. So let's get into it. Number 1 is about OS maps, and they're extremely popular in the UK because they are really detailed maps that cover the footpaths all over the UK. You can get them in different scales, so this one here is a 1 to 25,000 scale, and then I'll just show you here a different one which is a 1 to 50,000 scale. Now the 1 to 25,000 scale is a much more detailed map and really good for planning routes in countryside areas, particularly if you're going to a national park or somewhere more off the beaten track. That would always be what I rely on, so those are just a couple of different examples there. The 1 to 50,000 map is also great perhaps if you're planning a slightly longer route and you don't need that detail. It's not perhaps going to be such a technical walk. And the thing to point out about these maps is that the Ordnance Survey community has now also relatively recently brought out an OS map app which you can download on your mobile, and I've got to say works incredibly well when you're trying to find your way around somewhere new. Always good to have a hard copy of the map as well as something on your mobile, just in case you get into some technical difficulties. Point number 2 is footpaths. Primarily the fact that most footpaths in the UK aren't marked. So if, for example, you're going on a mountain hike and you're expecting to have a nice bunch of signposts that are going to be pointing you directly to the top of the mountain with the name of the mountain on it, you're unlikely to find it. Some footpaths are marked with a small green or wooden signpost or with an arrow, but a lot of the time they're not marked at all. So just to be prepared for that, it's good to know how to read a map in those circumstances. Some of the more popular long distance trails, however, will be more clearly marked. So I think just good to check in advance to see what sort of navigational tools you might need to help you on your way, but something to be aware of. Point number 3 is about the weather. Now, the weather is extremely changeable in the UK, which may be why it's one of our favourite topics to talk about. As you might be able to see, at the moment we've got this dazzling sunshine, which is rather brilliant, but also at the same time rain dripping off the trees from a really big downpour that we had earlier, which was a bit of a shocking. So be prepared for the weather. And linking to the maps point, I would just suggest getting hold of one of these if you can. This looks absolutely filthy, to be honest, but I've used it quite a lot. It's a map case. This one is, I'm going to slaughter this, but this is Ortlieb, the people that make it, and what it is it's a waterproof map case. What I normally do with those maps, and I didn't with those ones because I wanted to just show you what they look like in the cover, but I take that cardboard cover off and then put them inside a map case like this, and then it's super easy to squash, move around, use, but also it won't fall apart when you have a rain shower. And they're just great. You can get these online, all sorts of different makes and prices. As you can see, I've got a little string on mine so it doesn't blow away in the wind. But yeah, I'd get one of those. Just consider that you could have really big temperature variations throughout the day. Weather can go from dazzling sunshine to really quite cold and chilly very quickly. And unexpectedly, even in lowland areas. So if you're out camping at night, you could go from -2 overnight to perhaps 20 degrees in the day. So one thing I would always suggest having with you is a really good set of waterproofs. You can see I'm in my great waterproof jacket now, and I've got these waterproof trousers on that you can just about see, and a woolly hat. So my tip number 4 is always carry cash. Now, this can be really useful in a variety of situations, but in particular, if you are going somewhere a bit more remote, even though the UK is not a huge island, it can be quite remote in places, and as a result often doesn't have reception for card machines, phones might not work, you might not be able to access a bank point where you can get cash out. And in order that you can buy food in some of these more remote places, or perhaps even just get a taxi to get back to wherever you're staying, be that a campsite or a hotel, it's a really good idea just to have some cash on you at all times. Okay, so my next tip is about food and where to get food, what food to try. So I'd really recommend when you're in the UK trying some of the local food for whichever area of the UK it is you're visiting, whether that be having a cream tea in Cornwall, or fish and chips by the coast up in Scotland somewhere, or just a really traditional, steak pie in a pub. Also thinking about where to get food, particularly if perhaps you're going off on a long day hike early in the morning. I'd often recommend going to a bakery if you're staying somewhere like a small village or anywhere really that has a bakery that's open, because they're generally open really early in the morning, and what a lot of places will do is prepare sandwiches for you or provide you with like a hot breakfast roll or something like that can really help start your day in a brilliant way. And again, great to get that local knowledge from people who are working in the bakery to give you more tips about what you might like to try, where you might like to go. So I totally recommend doing that. So my next tip is about camping and generally where you can go camping in the UK. Now, there are amazing, brilliant campsites located all over the UK that you can use to go camping on, but I know a lot of people will want to go wild camping. Now, Dartmoor is a great location to go if you want to do some wild camping, as it's definitely fine to go there and you shouldn't be disturbed, provided you're obviously, acting responsibly, making sure you leave no trace, no waste. So that means taking everything away with you that you took in with you to a particular campsite. I thoroughly recommend camping in one of the many brilliant areas that you can go camping, just because it'll bring you a lot closer to nature, and waking up in a glorious surrounding is just an incredible feeling and makes you feel alive. So the next thing I want to talk about is perhaps some minor pests that you might want to try and avoid if you're walking. So the first of these is the midge. Now, the midge is quite common in Scotland, in particular at certain times of year. There's actually something called the midge forecast, which you can look at to see how bad the midges are going to be. Now, if you don't know what a midge is like a mosquito, but it's not going to harm you. They're just very irritating. So you tend to get these big clouds of midges that swarm at certain times of year in certain areas. They love damp areas. However, if there's a breeze or anything like that, then actually they can't fly, so you're unlikely to get them, particularly if you're near the coast. But what I would say is if they are there, they can be a real pain. So to avoid being distracted by them and to stop them from hampering a day outdoors, if you're going somewhere that might have midges, like Scotland, make sure that you have some good midge repellent spray with you. Again, you can get that online. And also a midge net is a really good idea. And the other thing that can be a bit of a pest and a bit annoying when you're out walking is ticks. Ticks are these tiny little bugs. They're minute that sort of attach onto you with their pincers, that if they are left on your skin and not removed, they can cause serious illness. Now, what I would suggest to avoid this one, just keep an eye on your legs and your arms to make sure that you've not picked one up. If you do have one, make sure you're carrying a pair of effectively tweezers with you, and make sure that you pull out the whole animal, including the legs, from your skin, and then it shouldn't be an issue. If, however, you get any rashes or swelling, then just go and see a doctor and they'll sort you out with some medication. But as I said, again, extremely rare, but something to be aware of, and just worth making sure that you have that pair of tweezers with you. Again, to avoid those, what you might want to think about doing is wearing long trousers and long sleeves. On my final point now, and I did kind of touch on it earlier, although I spent heaps of time talking about the OS maps and the footpaths, because I think that's quite important if you've not been to the UK before. The final thing that I wanted to talk about was pubs. Now, British pubs are an institution. I love pubs, and I think if you're going out for a long walk or a short walk or catching up with friends, whatever you're doing, if you can finish it at a pub or have a pub stop perhaps halfway round, a round walk route, it will really improve your experience of the day. And also I feel like it's vital to experience British culture. Pubs are obviously all over the UK. There's some fantastically located ones in really remote areas, and make the effort to speak to people there. You might get to know some fantastic facts, and again help learn some stuff for you planning your trips and other places that you might like to visit, and try, you know, a whole load of the food. I mean, if I'm honest, when I go out walking, whilst I love walking and being outdoors, one of my favourite parts of the walk experience, especially if it's cold in the winter, is to finish my day at an awesome pub and just catch up with whoever I've been walking with, warm up perhaps by toasty fire, eat some fantastic food. I appear to be standing in a tree. So I hope this video has been helpful. As I said, this is my first proper YouTube video, so if it's been helpful in any way, please let me know. I've had a brilliant time just being outside in this environment this morning. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to crack up on a little walk myself now. And I hope this video makes you feel inspired to get outdoors and enjoy the beautiful environment that you have around you, even if that's just a local park in a town. I wish you all the very best. Thank you for watching. And if you like this video, let me know, give me a thumbs up, and I'd love to make some more.